Ricky Pearsall, first round pick by the San Francisco 49ers.
Ricky, congrats, man.
We are 49ers.
San Francisco saw something special in him. And unfortunately, when we get into Ricky, it's a little bit different.
Police say 49ers rookie Ricky Pearsall was shot in the chest during an attempted armed robbery.
He was in the facility within 48 hours of being shot.
This is such a great route from a young man who was shot, not in training camp, and yet playing in a football game today. Let me tell you something, man. I get a hamstring, I'm out for 6 days a week. Boy, I'm trying to go to the spa. Ricky Pearsall, first round pick, 31st pick by the San Francisco 49ers. When we get into Ricky, it's a little bit different because he unfortunately had some things that happened that were not in his control. So his statistical numbers are down. However, what he's been able to do and go through has been remarkable.
Before I get to my first grade, which is the outlook somewhat moving forward, or maybe the outlook essentially that he has, I'm giving him an A for outlook. And the outlook is this: the way he is wired, the way he approached this season, the way he's somehow gotten through this season, and how he kind of approaches the game as a whole.
Yeah.
And what I look at is this: he shot on August 31st. Unbelievable situation. Unbelievable that he was walking to an ambulance after being shot through the chest. The entire situation really did rock the organization and the city, if you ask people in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
What stands out to me the most, that other than, him surviving and being fine, is that he was in the facility within 48 hours of being shot, trying to start work on coming back. What does that tell you real quick about the way Ricky Pearsall's wired?
Well, he's wired differently. He's not wired with the traditional Gen Z that we are seeing today's athlete or football player. So I would go with the A as well. It's been widely reported amongst the people that are in football that this just is a different kid. And they had a thought that he was different. That's why the San Francisco 49ers feel so comfortable going with the 31st pick over some of these other players that people thought would have went prior to Ricky Pearsall. But lo and behold, the San Francisco 49ers saw something special in him. And unfortunately, through circumstances and situations, he has stamped that approval of he will do the extra work. And it's not even overstating it. The man gets shot in the chest, and you're telling me less than a week?
Oh, less than 2 days.
Less than 2 days trying to get that work? Let me tell you something, man. I get a hamstring, I'm out for 6 days a week. Boy, I'm trying to go to the spa.
I mean, and Steve, 100%, nobody in the building's going, hey, when you coming in? Like, within the first 40 hours. Like, nobody's saying, hey, wait, it might be time to start coming in here and get a little work in, Ricky. Like, no, not at all. That's on him. That's what he did. And they've seen that. And obviously, this is a big situation where you get a chance to see that with something that just doesn't happen in the league. But the other little things that do happen in the league, Steve, is they see him constantly after practice working on his routes, always working on his footwork, always working on getting in and out of things. The extra work he puts in on all of that, I think, is another part that stands out to how he's wired. And you mentioned the production or lack thereof so far this season. Everybody I talk to in the league, whether it's a GM, front office executive, DC, like position coach, whatever it is for these receivers, almost universally, everybody's like, I give him a pass for the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just give him a pass for the year for what he's been through. Because you compound that with the fact, you have to remember, before he was shot on August 31st, he had practiced 3 days of training camp. He had a shoulder injury that kept him out of OTAs, kept him out of all of pretty much training camp. So when he arrives, really like week 7, when he starts playing again, he went from Florida to the NFL in week 7. So like also he had no off-season work in an offense that Kyle Shanahan runs that is complex at the position.
Extremely complicated.
Yep, and completely complicated at that position as well. And they want him to play multiple positions. And because of the injuries he's had to, you mentioned inside, outside, you mentioned different things he's had to do. This is a lot on a kid that, with on top of what he's been through with the incident, was really robbed of his entire first offseason, getting ready for his rookie season. So I think those two things together give him essentially the pass. I will say this, talking to some other people, it was, I don't know if I would have taken him 31st. I like him. I like the way he's built. I like the way he's wired. He runs good routes. He's savvy. He's competitive. Those are the things that I was told gathering stuff. But we would have, another GM, we would have probably taken him second, possibly third. And a second seems a little bit different fit than if you're picked in the first, Steve, you are a first round wide receiver. Doesn't matter what pick. People will just say that you were a first round wide receiver. There's still an incomplete in terms of where this goes. He's liked a lot by people in that building. I know that. That's a big part of it. I think when we look forward, and fit is a part of this. We mentioned Kyle Shanahan's offense. I give him a B+ on fit. I think he can play a variety of spots.
He does.
He can play all three positions. He's really good over the middle. That's what he showed at Florida. We still haven't seen a bunch of it, but we've seen him run those routes for Kyle. That's a big part of this offense. And then moving forward, if they move on from Deebo Samuel, which they have the opportunity to do if they choose to, it's like $9 million in dead money. He runs into a different role in year 2 than he was in this first season, where you're filling in for guys. We're trying to figure you out this entire season. I think a lot of the fit actually is in his favor moving forward, because they also have on this roster, Steve, a lot of financial decisions to make. When you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy, you got a lot of guys on the back ends of their contracts. You're paying a lot of guys. You might need a cheaper wide receiver to go out there and produce for you.
They need a cheaper wide receiver.
Yeah, and Brandon Ayuk, when does he come back? So all of this, I think fit for him is extremely important. And even on this back end, when he's not getting a lot of run, we're taping this heading into week 16. Kyle Shanahan's been really impressed with what he's been able to do in practice with everything that we said he's been through. So he's growing. I think fit moving forward is a positive for him.
Well, we have a very short film on him.
Yeah.
But he can run some routes. And so this first play right here, he's down at the top up there against Diggs and gives Diggs a little bit of the business. Let's go back. What is this route? So they have a 3-by-1 concept with Deebo in the backfield. They motion him outside. It's man-to-man coverage. Yo man against my man. Now somebody will drop out. However, the dropout is dropping out into man coverage because of the movement by Kyle Shanahan that does this. Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur. There's a number of teams where pre-snap movement is part of identification and recognition for the quarterback, but also identification and recognition of which side do I go to immediately. And because of man coverage, this play is saying, Ricky Pearsall, great job winning, but our guy is open on the other side. We could go back to this, but set this man up for later. Put some doubt in his mind, and that's exactly what he does up top. Gets Diggs, he goes outside, making him think, I'm running deep. Diggs squares up and boxes him out, puts his derriere inside, which would indicate to the corner he's going outside. Now, Ricky Pearsall, Slick Rick, like what I like to call him, gets in there and hesitation, crosses him over, daps him up like that, and does just like the shirt says, did I do that? So now, next play. Ricky's down here at the bottom. So he goes underneath. They're running a switch route. Ricky does a good job being patient, gives an indicator step outside, goes up the field. This is what we call a rub route. This is how it's supposed to look, where you get in the wake of the other corner with your guy, which makes the other corner what we call run the hump. Take the long way. And by him taking the long way, that opens up underneath. Now, Brock Purdy sees it late, throws a ball on the run, and Ricky Pearsall does an outstanding job. It actually go back. Brock eyes is in the wrong direction. Brock is looking to the left. Bro, he should be looking right here. He's looking to the left because you know why? He's waiting on Kittle. He believes Kittle is still going to get open no matter what. Kittle is showing you he's not going to get open, not because he can't, because his DB is draped all over him and the linebacker's holding him.
Yeah, he is.
But he's waiting on him. And then you got Kyle Juszczyk, he's running a route. And so it's so congested. That's why number 2 sits there. He sees Juszczyk go and he goes, oh, crap. Because he gets enamored with Brock sitting there waiting for George Kittle. And so number 2 is like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and steal this thing since he's over there. But that's why he was late on that throw. Then he realizes it and, he throws it. Good job buying some time. Good catch. Secures the catch. Fantastic.
We always talk about wasted steps with receivers.
Yeah.
Right? Can you run me through the first few steps of this route as he's setting up this corner so he can go, I love to use the term, the wake of the other receiver?
So the way he runs it, he's going forward. Sometimes when you run these routes, which are timing routes, sometimes these timing routes, people just stand there and then they'll just try to go. When you stand there, that gives that corner an indicator.
Exactly.
Spidey senses go up. His Spidey sense goes, what's going on? But what Ricky does such an extraordinary job in doing is he puts, and you'll hear me say this phrase, he puts bricks on the house by going forward.
Exactly.
So when he puts bricks on the house by going forward, that makes the corner, who's very patient, who moves when you move, I step when you step. So if I'm going forward, that corner has to go backwards, or you'll see some corners, they will hop outside of their framework. Now, when they hop outside their framework and they go to grab you, that's where what I like to call the fist fight in the phone booth go. But because he goes forward, there is no fist fight in the phone booth, because Ricky also understands, as a young guy, timing is not taught. Timing is intuition of that receiver, where he's watching film, understanding what he's supposed to do, and then also taking on the responsibility of the individual's job on every single play. That's why this is such a great route from a young man who was shot, not in training camp, and yet playing in a football game today.
I love this route. I really do. You got one more?
Yeah, we got two more.
Two more? Let's go.
Here's the deal, people. All season long, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Only on Underdog. Pick higher or lower on your favorite player, and you can join the millions of fans winning millions this season. Sign up today using promo code UD89, and you'll get a free pick as part of your first cash entry, plus $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, promo code UD89 to cash in on every touchdown this season, only on Underdog.
So this is where he gets in trouble, right? And so when I say get in trouble, this is where this is just a young guy, right?
Okay.
He's down here at the bottom. A rookie versus a vet, still good. He set him up last time, but he's like, nah, you ain't getting me with this little rookie route right here. So you see how he raises up?
Yep.
When you raise up like that, you are making it extremely more difficult for yourself, and you're making it easier for the corner. Look at the corner, puts that little jab step. When he raises up, watch what the corner does. He stops his feet he settles to plant. But when Ricky is standing up like that, if you're gonna hesitate and stay down and give a little step, when he does that, that's what Ricky's trying to create, a false step in getting by the corner. But because he raises up, when he creates the false step, he doesn't have the ability to continue to accelerate. You take a little bit of your speed off, because now you get out of alignment in more of the wake of the wind that you're fighting against when you're running. And that's where it goes. I'm telling you, running routes against DBs and covering routes against receiver, there is a little bit of a science to it. And you can go with inertia or go against it based on how fast you're running, and then if you're changing. Imagine in NASCAR, if you're going 200 miles per hour and then all of a sudden open the car door.
They don't have doors. They climb in the window.
I know, but I just for this one though.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hold on.
I'm just saying, when you're going that fast and you add an element into the wind, and what does it do? You're going against the wind. You're going against the G's and the forces. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take a little bit off of you. And that's what I mean when you raise up. That's the equivalent to raising up would be you're in a NASCAR and then you try to open up the door, or you driving down the street and you got to open up the door. The only way you can really open and close that door by what? Slowing down. Mm-hmm. So we have this route. He's up top. This is what they call a China route or a spin. Love this route. Goes outside. He's looking at the corner. He looks back at the ball. That's a key. Looking back at the ball guess what the corner will do if you look back at the ball? The corner will look back at the ball as well. But he already knows that I'm not getting it. Brock Purdy does an excellent job of keeping his eyes to the left to make sure that everybody's flows to where his eyes are going, because he knows that he could either hit George Kittle, but he can't hit George because he's now looking to the left. So next level behind him is Ricky Pearsall. If Ricky's not there, then he'll have to throw it to the flat, because he's already missed the route on the left side because he was using his eyes to move the linebacker in the middle of the field. So it's good. I like the route. It's good timing route. He doesn't rush his routes very often. He does a good job. I'm really looking forward to getting him a full year into the offseason, understanding how and what he does. So for me, route running, catching, and his athleticism, I give him an NS, not enough snaps. My final grade has to be a W or an M, like a medical or withdrawal, because of what happened. But what he has done thus far, based on the circumstances, man, it's been pretty impressive. And when you look at what Ricky Pearsall has brought to the table, you were speaking and it was just thinking about it. Was it a reach to get Ricky Pearsall? I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's what I would tell you. When you're doing this evaluation process, you have to, when you look at fits, I'm not necessarily sure that a kid in our list, when you look at fits and who was available, at the 31st pick, Xavier Worthy, gone. Brian Thomas Jr., gone.
Yep.
Neighbors, gone. Harrison, gone. So who was available at that time? At that time, it was Keon Coleman, Franklin, A.D. Mitchell, Corley, Polk, Burton. There's a number of guys. And listen to what I'm saying before you jump in the comments and say that I'm hating. These teams are evaluating what they need, how a guy fits in the locker room, and based off the position that we project him to play, that we need him to play. And you can't say that the guys that were remaining, based off right now, that those guys would have fit well with the San Francisco 49ers, because they don't even fit well with their current teams. Yeah. Some of those guys are missing in action. Some of those guys cannot get on the field for a specific reason, that it may be studying, it may be lifestyle, or maybe they just can't get on the field because the guy in front of him is better.
I would say, Steve, what the perception, which is a big thing in this league, if you're a wide receiver taken in the first round, what is everybody's perception? You better be the one. Like, and when I talk to teams, it was most people like, I think he's a very, very good 2. And they probably went into this draft going, we're going to re-sign Brandon Ayuk. Like, we're looking at our receiver group as a whole. And if we're going to reach, let's look at our wide receiver room as a collective and go, I want this. I don't care if we draft him ahead of where a lot of people might have him. We're setting ourselves up as a wide receiver group better because of the skill set he brings to complement Ayuk. And you know what I mean? You're looking at how you're building your team schematically oftentimes. But when people see that first round, they go, is he a 1? Well, guess what? There's a lot of 2s in this league that are absolutely balling.
Correct.
And that's an important aspect of it as well. So I think when you look at it, you go, are we going to solidify at the end of the first round a player that we think can be one of the better 2s in the league, play off of Brandon Ayuk, play off of the system that we established as a versatile player that does the things that we want? Or are we going to reach for a guy that maybe there's some question marks that we have on the report card heading into this draft going, maybe this part works out, or maybe this aspect works out, but this guy checks a lot of what we need for what we're looking for. We'll go and get him.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see Ricky Pearsall in training camp next year. I got to make a trip up to Santa Clara, I think, Steve.
Yes, sir. Slick Rick, what they call him.